Well, good morning. Welcome to Wellspring. Glad to see you all here. And we have the support crowd over here for our wonderful singer today. So first, let's start with some announcements. I think we may be ready for that. Early Birds happens every Sunday morning at 9:30. The link is on the web page and in the weekly email. We'll get the slides pretty soon. We have some other announcements in no particular order. This week we have the lunch bunch, and that's at 11:30 at Cracker Barrel. And also this week we have the board meeting, which is 6:30 on Wednesday evening, and all are welcome. All are welcome to join us, and if you need the link to get on, give me a buzz or text me, what have you, and we'll give you the link so you can get on and enjoy that. Oh, yes, now we have our upcoming speakers. And today we have Reverend Sandhi speaking. Next Sunday I'll be speaking. And then we have Reverend Kamatara. And last of the month is Reverend Randy Granger. So we have a nice lineup of speakers. Don't want to miss any Sunday. Oh, yes. As you know, Science of Mind magazine is a dual issue nowadays, and the September-October is available, and it's $6, and you can just give Judy your $6 and pick up a copy of the magazine. Yes, and we mentioned about the lunch bunch already. We mentioned about the Board of Trustees already. And I just want to also mention that Thursday evening we have a group that meets at 7 p.m. here in the social hall and on Zoom. And we're watching videos from the Gaia series. Right now we're listening to and watching Teresa Bullard, who is a scientist as well as a metaphysician. And we've most recently been talking about sacred symbols and sacred geometry and dealing with our dark side and stuff like that. It's about a 40-minute presentation each week, and then we have a discussion about things. So the labyrinth is slowly coming along, and thank you those who've already contributed rocks, and I understand there are some in some cars today. If anybody needs help getting it over here to underneath the pergola, just give me a call or whatever. I'll be happy to help. And the rock should be 6 to 8 inches in diameter. And we need about 400. I think, I haven't counted them, but I think we're about 121 or 2, I'm not sure. Yeah. And lastly, our prayer team remains ready to serve and support you. And you may submit a prayer request via our webpage, or we have some forms in the back here. Fill one out and hand it to me after service, because we meet, prayer group meets every Tuesday afternoons at 4:15, and I'll take that with us, and we'll pray with you over your concern. And you may also want to take that time to sit in your quiet space, because we know that the power of prayer knows no limits, and that we are all one in spirit. So now it's time for our invocation. So we take this moment to just turn within for a minute and realize that that is where that spirit is. That spirit resides in us. We also know that today we affirm and acknowledge the presence of spirit in this very room, operating, activating each of us, operating through each of us, and bringing forth the very best in each of us, as we take this time this morning, have the intention of being here in this presence. We are really being here in our presence, our very own presence, and touching that magnificent spirit, that being that we truly are. For that we are grateful, and so it is. So now, please stand if you're able for our Song of Joy. Give yourself a hand. So let us now read together our vision, mission, and affirmation. And if you can't see it, we also have these sheets of paper that contain it. So our vision is to elevate spiritual consciousness in our world. Our mission, to support individuals' spiritual quests through celebration, study, counsel, loving fellowship, and service. And our affirmation, my life is a blessing to all I meet. God's love flowing through me is felt by all around me. I bring joy to the lives of others. I know the truth of my being and that peace. Yes, thank you all. And now Barry will introduce our guest musician and the music.
Hello, everybody. I'm so pleased to bring back Tayden Garzone. She will be singing for us today, and it's her last Sunday with us before she heads off to college in Oregon. But hopefully I'll get her back at Christmas. But the first song I chose is actually a dedication to Tayden, even though she'll be singing it. So it's the Irish Blessing. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. So without further ado, Tayden Garzone.
May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be ever at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rain fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you, may God hold you the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall soft upon your fields.
On Zoom.
And until we meet again, may God hold you, may God hold you ever in the palm of his hand. Ever in the palm of his hand. The palm of his hand.
Thank you, thank you. So next we have our reading, and this is from Ernest Holmes. It says, change is necessary. Nobody's going through change right. Oh, yes, I see a couple right there. I was going to say, there's Mom and Grandma, and the whole family is going through change there. Oh, oh. So change is necessary. We are living in a world of continual change, a world in which thought, thing, and experience are all in a constant state of flux. It is the very nature of the universe that there should be continual change and variation. It is a living world, the creation of a living creative intelligence, not a static world created by a God now dead or departed who has left it to decay. No, it is vital and alive. The mind that created it is not apart from it, but is always active in and through it. But behind that which changes, behind that which causes the change, we have found that there is something stable and changeless, something eternal upon which all external events depend for their very existence. Behind the endless process of change and the infinite variety of experience and expression, there is that which does not change. We should never be afraid of change, never fearful of what will come. Instead, we should bring to bear on each new element the influence of the creative nature of our thought, an influence that is founded on an inward calm, a sense of certainty and peace, which will reflect itself in the changing scene of our everyday lives. As we look for and discover the nature of the infinite which does not change, we find that we develop a complete trust in its integrity. We are again reminded of Einstein's remark that God does not play dice with the cosmos. And we then come to possess a feeling of security, which is enhanced by the knowledge that each of us has a personal and intimate relationship with the infinite. It is from this inward basis of certainty, this sense and awareness of our relationship to God, who is changeless, but from whom flow infinite expressions, that all our thoughts should flow. So today's speaker is Reverend Sandhi, and we look forward to hearing the jewels and words of wisdom.
Thank you, Edward. You always do such a great job. I love when you pick out the reading. It's so perfect for today. Thank you. We're a good team up here. Good morning, everybody. I'm so glad to be here from Truth or Consequences. I moved last Thursday. I'm still in emotional whiplash, but we're doing it. We're in, and I only have boxes of books left, which is just a miracle because I've moved before and I've left boxes for a long time. I don't know. Of course, none of you have done that. This morning, let's start with giving thanks for Betty being home from the hospital. She's a pillar of this center and quite delightful in every way. And we give thanks for her and Donna and the whole family and all her friends and the close friends here in this room, of course. It's quite good news. After we got a note that she was in the hospital, then we got this joyful note from her daughter. So I love good news, don't you? We need a lot of it. I do anyway. Well, I had this all boiled down to from this big page, my outline, to this page, to a half page, but I lost a half page, so we're in for a long, no. I'm going to do my best. The topic is change this morning. I'm hoping that the talk will make sense for all of you because that is quite a change. And I'm glad you have Mr. Mann with you this morning. I wondered, of course, there'll be an interview afterwards. We want the best for her, of course. Really do wish you the best. So Truth or Consequences came as a surprise because I said the last time I was here that August 1st, I heard that I had to move, that my landlady's daughter had sold the property. And I panicked. And I did rehearsals and projections and disaster, and I catastrophized the whole thing. And I said, it's impossible. I'm 79. I'm on Social Security. I have 4 dogs. What are the odds? Not so good. So I dedicated August to be silent. And when people asked me what I was going to do, where I was going to go, it's none of my business. I'm just waiting for the answer. I'm just going to be as still as I can for the month of August, and the answer will come. And I have no idea. I might move out of the country. I hope not California again because I finished there. I've covered the state, and I just didn't know, but I was willing. Mexico, Lake Tahoe, wherever. And so then I went to lunch with Reverend Jen Kleitz, who a lot of you know, of course. She was here. And I said, I want your support because I'm not going to fast forward. I'm not going to panic. It's just ridiculous to worry. Everything's turned out for 79 years. I think I'll make it through this too. And she said, oh, we can help. We can help you. And with those 4 words, bam, my life was completely changed. She said, we have a house in TRC you can rent. The next day, she bought me a car. And it's just amazing. I haven't had a car for 5 years. So then 20 days later, I was in Truth or Consequences. And I think it's a kick in the pants that I lived there because Truth or Consequences to me means cause and effect. And the first thing I heard about religious science when I first got to San Diego was, well, it's all about cause and effect. So I'm living in cause and effect now. And I'm pretty much at the effect of it right now. If you've moved, you know what I'm saying. So I just want to tell you what's been happening because it's a perfect home. It has a huge yard, has a huge big shade tree, and I bought a fake Adirondack chair to sit under it with my dogs. Man, Bodie had a hard time adjusting, but he's doing better. So we're there and we're home, and it felt right. The first morning I was peaceful. I thought I had peace in my other home, but not anything near this. It's just really peaceful because this is the first time I've moved 28 times, and sometimes like 3 or 4 times in a city, but I've picked up and moved 27 times. And my shelf life was 5.5 years until I moved to Las Cruces, and I was there for 21 years, which is a big record. I love it there. I love Las Cruces. I always will, and be grateful for it. So to be peaceful, the first morning was amazing. The first night I drove out to the lake, Elephant Butte, and the sun was illuminating the clouds across the lake, and there was a sheet of rain and a rainbow. I was like, I'm home. I'm definitely home. However, a few things have gone wrong. And I mean wrong. like no hot water, no gas. There's a leak in the gas line. And then the kitchen sink gave out 3 days ago, and the plumber's coming as soon as next Friday. Woohoo! Friday the 13th, I believe. Anyway, so then I met my neighbor, and the first thing she said is, that tree has to go. And I went, because I'm a tree fan, you know. I did hug a tree. I tried to save a tree in San Diego, but the police came, and when he saw my big dog Apache, he unlocked his gun, so I went home. But I love trees, and I love this tree. It's so beautiful. It's a fruitless myrtle, something like that. Yeah, that's what I said. Thank you. I can always turn to Edward, and he's right there. So then yesterday morning, there was an odeur. You know that the French say, quelle odeur, what an odor. It was a skunk. It had come through the vents. It had sprayed my dogs. And I was going to bring Bodie because he's having such a hard time, but I think some of you would faint if you smelled him. Golly. Yeah, so, and then the neighbor said, oh, I see the skunk occasionally. I went, oh, good, we get to go through this again, maybe? Oh, please not. So please pray for this little skunk. You know, there's a metaphysical go to hell, and you say, your good is elsewhere, and you go to it quickly. So I invite the skunk to move. I moved, he can move, right? Or she, whatever he is. But the phrase from the Isha Upanishad is usually the first Upanishad in books that have the 10 main Upanishads, and they're 5,000-year-old Vedic Hindu writings. And the Bhagavad Gita is like a handbook to life, and the Upanishads are the revelation of self, of it, of Isha. Isha means God, and the Isha Upanishad is usually first. And it starts out by saying, this is perfect, that is perfect. When perfect is drawn into manifestation, perfect remains perfect. So then the words in one of the books said it's paramidam, paramida. Paramidam, say that with me. Paramidam, paramida, which means this is perfect, that is perfect. So I keep going around the house. Paramida, as I'm washing my dishes in the bathroom, saying paramidam, paramida, paramida, paramidam. So it's a lot of that. And the truth is, from the first day I met people, I'm in a 12-step program, and the meeting is phenomenal. And one woman I just met 2 days ago sent me a text this morning supporting my trip here. And things like that have been happening all the time. And then I went to the Black Cat Cafe. Have you heard of that? It's a used bookstore, and the great coffee, and it's friendly. Have you been there? People are nodding. Yeah, it's my hangout. So I go there in the mornings. And then there's a little park across the street, Ralph Edwards, which I thought was just a little bit of grass, but it's a pond with a fountain, and there's a big yellow fall tree. And that's what put me in the mood for fall this morning. It's just gorgeous, and it reflects in the pond. Then the other miracle was right up the street is a hill, a really neat hill like this, and it's all original desert, and it's BLM, and Bodie, help me. Bodie gets to run free there. So it's all falling together really well. And also paramidam, paramida, of course, because that's life. You know, there's a saying, when you choose more life, anything unlike it will come up. Have you noticed that? Something really great happens, and then there's little chips happening. This little, oh, no water, no hot water, oh. This morning it was invigorating. I choose invigorating. So I'm just grateful. And I'm grateful I get to keep coming here once a month, because you've meant so much to me. And really the changes in my life are on the foundation that I started building here over a year ago. That I had a deeper experience of new thought. I had a deeper spirituality. I have a much clearer spiritual identity. In fact, on August 24th, August was a big one. I had this revelation. My purpose is to tell the truth. And the truth for me is we can choose facts or truth. And the truth doesn't change. You know, the topics change. But as I'm changing, I rest. Even as I'm packing, I rest in the changeless presence that I really am. I am spirit in a body. The big S and the little s. Remember that? I think I have one. I really use it a lot. You know, there are people that come up to me and say they use it. So this is soul, capital S, and this is soul, little s. This is spiritual. This is personal. And that's how big I want the physical to affect my life. I want spiritual identification. I want spiritual experience. As Edward was saying, the presence. So change. Let me see how I'm doing here. Pretty darn good. Okay. So the solution to suffering, there are two quotes I want to share with you today. One is from the Bible, and it's from Chronicles, 2 Chronicles 20, and it's about Jehoshaphat. You know about Jehoshaphat? Let's say it, Jehoshaphat. It's just fun to say, Jehoshaphat. Yeah, we talk about Jehoshaphat. Well, he was at war, and he was surrounded by 7 armies, and they didn't have much artillery or anything. It looked really hopeless. And so they gathered in the temple and prayed. And the prophet came through saying, "Stand ye still and see the salvation of God, for the battle is not yours." Stand ye still and see the salvation of God, for the battle is not yours. Your life is none of your business. Your life is none of your business. It's just puff and fluff, flotsam and jetsam. Everything's temporary. So I love that saying. In fact, Marianne Williamson, when I was with her in Detroit, we were in a long meditation for some holiday. I don't remember which one it was, but she got up and left. And of course I judged her. Of course, I was her associate minister. Of course I judged my own boss, my own pastoral care, fabulous speaker, minister. And I thought, I would never do that. And then someone said, "She wants you in your office." So I got up and left. You know what you judge, you do? It's like throwing a lasso around it and bringing it right to you. You know, so I was in the effect of my judgment right away, and I had to walk out on 1,500 people, and it was embarrassing. And she was talking to President Clinton, and she said, "Sandy, you know how urgent she is?" Marianne Williams says she has an urgency. "Sandy, what's that quote you say about stand ye still?" She goes, "Here." I said, "No, you tell him. You tell him." I don't want to tell him. But he liked it. So it spread that day. And I love it, just to stand ye still. It's like it's none of my business. I'm just going to be quiet. And the other one is Ernest Holmes says, "Remain where you are until you're lifted effortlessly." Like our girl here was lifted effortlessly to Oregon, and people are squeezing over it, of course. But it's a good thing. So the solution is to be still and not make a plan out of rushing, because in those 27 moves, this is the first one that has clearly come from within, where I clearly felt at home immediately. And I credit Wellspring for what I've experienced here with early birds. And Shirley and I were on the phone. We call each other, I call her a lot, and this last week. And we read the Course in Miracles together, and it's like flattened out. It's just flattened out. So she's a lovely person. And I guess you know one of her daughters has COVID. So she's going through a challenge being home with all that. So one thing that changes, that amazes me, and we talked about it before, is the pearl. And the pearl starts with an irritation, a little pebble. Where's the jar? I think my necklace is on top. So the pearl starts with an irritation, just like you have to move. And then we layer, the oyster layers it with nacre. I always say nacre it, another layer, nacre it. Just make it luminous, make it lovely, make it soft and pretty. So you get a pearl today. I know you got one before, but you got one today too. And as you hold it, you might want to consider it as a God reminder. And if anything makes sense to you today, You can put it somewhere where you can see it, or in your purse or pocket or whatever. But I hope it reminds you that you have what it takes to move through anything in front of you, anything on your path. We have what it takes, don't we? We have the tools, we have the philosophy, we have the friends, we have the fellowship, we have the social hall, we have comfortable chairs. They're the most comfortable. You know, I've been a minister for 40 years. These rock. They're good chairs. It's important, right? Okay, so the pearl does an amazing change. And if we can roll with it, if we can make it round and luminous, we're fine. We're fine. If we just let it be. Let it be. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to know. So these pearls are very precious. I want you to look up here for a minute. Poppets! Can you believe it? Last night I went to Art Hop in Truth or Consequences, and this was in a thrift store, and this older lady, older than me, said, I wondered who was going to pick those up. I said, what are these? And she goes, they're poppet beads. Isn't that a riot? So this is like, matter doesn't matter. Matter doesn't matter. They're plastic coated with paint. A pearl is an irritation coated with nacre. Mother of pearl. Isn't that beautiful? I love mother of pearl jewelry. It means she's the mother of the pearl, and she kept embracing the irritation and embracing the pebble and layering it lovingly and layering it until it became this wonderful pearl. And my Hindu name was given to me by Guru Madhya Bhagavati, long time in LA. And she said, your name is Muktibai, and Mukti means pearl. And it's my grandmother's middle name, and it was Janis Joplin's name. And she and I were like that. So, I mean, we were acquaintances. We would talk, and I lived in her flat when she moved out. But so pearl has always been important to me. So when she said, your name is Muktibai, Mukti means pearl, and Bai means sister. So it means sister of liberation, because Mukti is also liberation and pearl. So I hope you can have some meaning with it today, and I hope it reminds you that you guys have what it takes with the change. I mean, to have the 3 generations here again is just a wonderful, and a son and a Mr. Man. So, our friend Terry can't be here today because she's nauseous, and I was so involved with my move that I didn't order a gift for today. And so I went to Walmart, and what you got saved from are these. And it says pom-poms. And my newest favorite saying is, everybody deserves a witness with pom-poms. Because I always tell Terry, I said, I'm shaking out my and Amy, I'm shaking out my pom-poms, I'm cheering you on, you have what it takes. So you're spared from 2 little pom-poms. So next time you see Terry, you might want to thank her for the pearls. And the last thing is, I want to share my morning readings today, because it was just stunning how these are my every morning readings, plus the Course in Miracles and Buddha readings, but they're really big books. This was given to me in 1978 in a born-again Christian church, because I moved to San Diego without knowing anyone to marry a millionaire. Then he dumped me for my sister. And the only person I knew was an old boarding school roommate, and she was married to a born-again Christian minister. So I tried that. I tried really hard. I don't regret the Bible studies. I don't regret the beautiful songs. I still play them in the morning, these beautiful songs. And this was given to me as my first time visit. And in this morning it says, for this cause and this cause only came I unto the world, to bear witness to the truth. That's our job, isn't it? We have to decide what truth is. To me, it's the changeless presence that is everything. And one of the Upanishads, this son came home from a big spiritual experience where he knew everything. And the father said, really, did he tell you the one thing that makes you know everything? And he said, no. And so there's this long thing, and it turns out that self, capital S, is the source of all, and self is in all creation. So that's my truth anyway, that I do my best to choose truth over fact. Om over Pyramida Pyramidam. Okay, then I read the spiritual diary by Paramahansa Yogananda. I bought it my last day in California before I came here in 2003. And this morning it says, remember, if you don't find God, you are not making enough effort in your meditation. Should you not find the pearl after 1 or 2 divings, don't blame the ocean. Blame your diving. You are not going deep enough. If you dive really deep, you will find the pearl of his presence. Isn't that amazing for this morning? And then about the self. I've read this before, but it's so important. Since soul, capital S, that is self's, capital S, friend, may grow self's foe. Soul is self's friend when self doth rule over self. Soul over self. But self turns enemy if soul's own self, little self, hates self not as itself. So if we're not honoring capital S self, I'm in trouble. When I give my unstill voice, my constant yander, yatter voice, the microphone, it goes into the ditch every time. If I think I know something, if I make it up and it's a mistake, I've made so many. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'm done either. So, and then Emma Curtis Hopkins, which was one of the first greatest teachers of New Thought, I believe. She taught Ernest Holmes, and she taught the Fillmores and the women from Divine Science. She was their teacher. She was known the teacher of teachers. And I always pictured her as being in a black taffeta dress in the late 1800s and bustling into the room and belting out a message and leaving. She never talked to people. Can you imagine the freedom? Yeah, she'd just deliver it and leave. So this was this morning. And I wanted to mention in the beginning, change is a great topic, and it's standing on Edward's talk. I went to my last Sunday in Las Cruces, I spent here because I needed a break from my own damn self. I was driving myself crazy packing. I said, I need Wellspring. And his topic was alchemy, changing yuck into gold. What did you say? Changing challenges into gold? Yeah. The suffering into gold. We can change the suffering into gold. And that's what a pearl does. So I'm standing on his shoulders this morning. Hope I'm not too heavy for you. When the curses can be turned into blessings, isn't that cool? When the curses can be turned into blessings, alchemy, we have touched the divine alchemy. The oyster that turns the anguish-giving sand grain into a pearl with the luster of skies in its whiteness is emblem of man glorifying in the midst of affliction. Isn't that beautiful? And that was this morning too. So you know you're on the right track when your intuition keeps being repeated, right? So the last one is, this is a classic old daily reader called My Utmost for His Highest. Does anyone have it? It's by Oswald Chambers, who is Scottish. And it's a daily reader. And if you're serious, you know, he says things like, if you're in trouble, God is taking you down to the valley and he's hammering you into what he wants you to be. Things like that. And it's pretty profound. And I put it away for years, and then my books were sent from La Jolla recently, and this was in there. And I think, oh, God, it's like an old friend. I can't remember what was good in here, and it doesn't matter. But it was relevant. You know, don't you love that? You know, some people call it coincidence. Dottie Shore was a 12-step circuit speaker, and she goes, isn't that odd? It's God. Isn't that odd? It's God. And it is. It always is. It always, always is. This morning in the early birds, I got here almost in time. I had to go by Terry's to get the pearls. But it was talking about seeing self in everything. And then Edward's reading and the song, seeing God in everything. And then the Irish blessing. Who doesn't love that? It was so beautifully done. So this morning it's just kind of woven together for me, and I hope for you. So one thing we could do is hang a do not disturb sign on our forehead. And that means look in the mirror and see it. Do not disturb yourself. Because Michael Singer says it's not the moment in front of you that's bothering you. It's you that's bothering you. It's you that's bothering you. It's what you're doing with what's in front of you. Are you going to take it personally? Are you going to stick with the facts and suffer, knowing this too shall pass? I said this morning that when things are going really well, like TRC, I go, this too shall pass. This too, everything will pass. Everything that's happened, will happen, is temporary, and it shall pass. And so can we stand in the changeless as we're going through change? Can we just count on the self that knows nothing of the drama I'm in, knows nothing about the skunk or the cold water, knows nothing about those details, couldn't care less. And if I tune into the changeless as I'm changing, taking cold showers and washing dishes in the bathroom sink, not what I would prefer, however, it is what it is. You know, this, I accept this just as it is and just as it is not. When Terry Cole Whitaker married my husband and I, she said, do you accept Ron just as he is and just as he is not? Which was very clever because it meant he's not perfect. Can you accept that? As it is and as it is not. It's the way it is. What are you going to do with it? That's the point, right? So let's go into a quiet, still place. Do we want to go into the still water or bounce around in the whitecaps of the churning water of the ego, of the oppositional men? Do we want to go into the stillness, or do we want to be bounced around and maybe drowned by this hideous, ridiculous, temporary, unnecessary churning up, or the stillness? So let's go into that stillness. There's a quote that says, it's from that was it, my utmost for his highest. It's not that prayer changes things. Prayer changes me, and I change things. It's to listen, receive, embrace, and act. Do the next indicated thing. Indicated by your intuition, the gut, the knowingness. You knew it. You know it, and you will know it. Just remember that you know that you know. The lesson for the Course in Miracles today for me, lesson 112, is light, peace, and joy abide in me. So let's spend a few minutes with that. Light, peace, and joy abide in me. Let's say that. Light, peace, and joy abide in me. Let's breathe that in. And just say, what is light to me? It's within me. It's always within me. It's who I am. It's the source of life. It is life itself. Light. What is joy? It is that constant sense of okayness, of rightness, of contentment, of acceptance, of love and light. Joy. Ever present and accessible anytime I'm willing. Remember the key of willingness? Just turn that key. Open the door and step through. And every step into the unknown will be met, directed, and guided by a greater intelligence than mine. Every brave step is honored. Every step into the known comes from your knowingness that that is the next step. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. I am not my body. I am as God created me. Let's say that. I am as God created me. I'm not my body. I am created. I am as God created me. Thank you, Edward, again. So how about that? How about today? How about facing change, standing in the stillness as facts come and go? How about choosing up? How about lifting thoughts to the upper frequency of the stillness that knows nothing of the drama, nothing of little micro upsets, nothing of huge loss and huge challenges. We can stand in this changeless stillness of spirit as capital S self, embracing the little self and rocking it into a nap. Do not disturb. You can look in the mirror and say, do not disturb. Do you want the stillness or the churning, chattering of the mind? Do we want to sail or ride it out in choppy waters? And how about pearl diving? How about diving for the pearls of wisdom that are within you? How about asking to see a pearl of wisdom right now? May we all be blessed so that as we go out, we may bless others today. May this day reflect the truth of our being. May people, places, and things be attracted into our lives with the high frequency of stillness and truth, the changeless presence that we can count on, no matter what, anytime, anywhere, it is there. It is you. It is your identity. It is your experience. May we express it clearly today for the highest good of all concerned. And so we release this for the greatest good. And we give thanks for the opportunity of being together today and embracing an idea together. For this we give thanks. Amen, and so it is. Thank you.
For this next song, I just want to introduce it quickly. The words were written back, well, they were written by George Herbert. He died in 1633, so these are very old words. And then Ralph Vaughan Williams adapted it to music, and he died in 58. So this is a pretty old song, but it comes from his series of songs called Five Mystical Songs.
Ooh.
It's called The Call, and to honor us with her voice, Tayden goes on.
Come my way, my truth, my life, such a way as gives us breath, such a truth as ends all strife, such a life as killeth death. Come, my light, my feast, my strength, such a light as shows a feast, such a feast as mends in length, such a strength as makes his guest. Come, my joy, my love, my heart, such a joy as none can move, such a love as none can part. Such a heart as
Well, let's give Sandy another hand. Thank you, Sandy. And Tayden as well. We're so grateful that you're here today and that you brought the whole family. It's going to be a wonderful send-off. I guess you have a party this afternoon, right? No, okay. All right. See, now it's time for our offering. I think we've got somebody in the back who's going to pass the basket. I know I have one. And I think while I'm here and we're spending a little bit of time, I just might want to mention that one of my favorite expressions, expect amazing. Yeah. So thank you, Judy. And as we acknowledge and receive our virtual and in-person gifts, we give great thanks for the offerings that have already been given and those we will be receiving, because we know that giving and receiving are both part of the one flow. We affirm that we are also part of that flow. We bless these gifts and know that they are multiplied throughout our community. And for this understanding and knowledge, we are grateful. Thank you, Judy. So there are a number of folks who have contributed to today's production. In the back, we have our tech crew. We have Brenda, Edwin, Cleona, thank you, yeah. And our musicians, and our speaker, thank you all. And we thank those of you who joined us today from Zoom, and those in the sanctuary. And lastly, stay around in the Zoom meeting if you want to chat a little bit, or join us in the social hall, where another one of our wonderful folks has presented or prepared some coffee and some goodies. Sharon, thank you. Yeah. So please stand as you are able and read with me the benediction, and followed then by our congregational song. Spirit in the midst of us is mighty. Joy, peace, and eternal life are our true nature and flow through us into the world. And so it is.